Thank you for welcoming me to the Richard Nixon Presidential Library and Museum. I'm here today to present an on-the-ground assessment of the current state of Israel war with Hamas. We look at the present circumstances to understand how we move forward as a nation, as a region, and as a world. Today, we will also look back in order to look forward. 50 years on from the Yom Kippur War, what did our leaders do then? What would they have done now? Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you as Israel is fighting its second war of independence. The Israel we have known for 75 years is fighting for its next 75 years and beyond. Nothing we know is the same. Nothing can be the same. And nothing will be the same. I know everyone here today understands the depth of the massacre of October 7th. To give you a sense of my personal experience as a Consul General during these brutal times, I would like to share one specific anecdote, a story that one month on still haunts me. In the wake of October 7th, I received phone calls from surgeons throughout this region asking if they could volunteer to help in Israel. I called up the Israeli Health Ministry to inquire which specialties or subspecialties of surgeons were needed. The Ministry of Health replied, "Israel, we don't need surgeons." And I asked, why? They told me, there's no one left to save. We need forensics. So we sent 4 forensics doctors to Israel who worked tirelessly until a few days ago to identify hundreds of bodies. 30 days later, 90 bodies still lay in Shiva Hospital that were not identified. That is what our people experienced on October 7th. The hard truth is, Gaza has been problematic for decades. Before Richard Nixon became president, Gaza was a hotbed of terrorism. After Richard Nixon was president, Gaza was a hotbed of terrorism, and in 2023, Gaza is a hotbed of terrorism. In 1979, the peace treaty that Israel and Egypt brokered was contingent on Israel officially subsuming Gaza into its territorial jurisdictions. Egypt didn't want it, and Egypt still doesn't want it. In 2005, Israel unilaterally disengaged from Gaza. In 2006, Hamas was democratically elected to leadership. In 2007, the leaders of the Palestinian Authority were thrown from the rooftops of the PA headquarters. Hamas de facto took over Gaza and imposed its jihadist doctrine. Not much has changed. October 7th was the tipping point. In the wake of October 7th, Israel waged a decisive war against Hamas. After 30 days of an army campaign, the IDF has divided Gaza into 2 parts, the north and the south. The military campaign is taking place in the north of Gaza. There is no military action in the south, only humanitarian action. The IDF continues a methodical operation to eliminate Hamas capabilities while trying to limit civilian casualties. However, Hamas uses Gazan civilians as human shields on a daily basis. Make no mistake, Hamas can no longer control civil life in Gaza. It will cease to exist as a terrorist organization on Israel's border. Anything short of toppling Hamas is a triumph for Hamas. Let us be clear. The Gaza problem is not just a Gaza problem. It is a regional problem with a global impact. This attack was not about gaining territory, but was about committing terrorism. Hamas mercenaries have become agents of the Iranian regime who seek to upend the Middle East balance of power. Make no mistake, Iran is the architect. Hamas is the proxy. Hamas and the Iranian regime's global jihadist doctrine call for the annihilation of Israel, America, and the West. Hamas' attack on Israel is tactically timed as well. The United States and Saudi Arabia were on the verge of forging a deal that would tilt the balance of power in the Middle East toward the GCC, the Gulf states. However, Hamas is being used as the proxy by which Iran seeks to terrorize the region back into the tent with America. The Iranian threat to Saudi Arabia's regional defense posture is real. If Israel, America, and their allies fail to counter Iranian aggression, Saudi Arabia and its neighbor will be forced to come to terms with an empowered Iranian regional presence. Despite the regional advances we have made with our Gulf neighbors through the Abraham Accords, the Middle East is still a precarious region for Israel and its neighbors because of rising jihadism. That jihadism is also anti-moderate Islam. The coalition of moderate Sunni states are in danger if Hamas remains intact and the forces that grew it, such as Iran, remain empowered. The entire counterbalance of the coalition of Sunni states against Iranian aggression is therefore predicated on Israel and its allies destroying Hamas. America's regional influence is being tested, but so is the global balance of power. Yes, Hamas and Hezbollah are the proxies of Iran, but Iran has also found allies in Russia and China. In the competition for global influence, because of the Ukraine war, Russia is aligned more closely with Iran. Due to EU support of Ukraine, Russia's presence in this context should not be underestimated. To better understand the global powers at play, we look back 50 years ago, when Israel and the Middle East were the battleground, much like they are today. In 1973, President Richard Nixon was charged not only with securing Israel and regional order, but also global order. President Nixon was a doer, a realpolitik. He was an active player in the geopolitical field. He was an initiator. On Yom Kippur, October 6, 1973, the state of Israel was attacked on multiple fronts by Egypt and Syria. They were backed by 9 Arab states, as well as 1 non-Arab states. Who knows? The Soviet Union, correct. Who's got a lunch from us? Who was it? Correct, the Soviet Union. Nixon acted decisively. He ordered his cabinet, you get the stuff to Israel, now. Operation Eagle Grass replenished Israeli ammunition with the largest American airlift of foreign aid in history at a time. My friends, today we do not face the evils of communism. We face the evils of jihadism. As he did then, today, President Nixon would have been fast to react, would have sent an airlift to ram Israel, and would have secured a moderate Sunni coalition in the region to balance Iranians' aggression. That is because, since President Nixon, nearly every US president, Republican or Democrat, has understood what is at stake for America in this. I would like to draw one specific contrast to the Yom Kippur War. In 1973, in the later stages of the war, Egypt's 3rd Brigade was encircled by the IDF. Things were not looking good for Egypt. President Nixon understood that in order for Egypt to one day create peace with Israel, which 6 years later it did, that the Egyptians could not be totally humiliated in the war. The Egyptians needed to be left with some vestiges of pride so that a roadmap for peace could remain. Today, however, the road for peace can only be laid by obliterating Hamas. If Hamas is not eradicated, it sends a dangerous message to the region and the world that jihadism has the upper hand in the region. A strong US presence with a credible deterrent is necessary to avert the jihadist agenda. This requires global decisiveness, American decisiveness, Nixon-style decisiveness. This requires a clear moral stand. Golda Meir said that President Nixon saved Israel. She called him my president. 50 years later, the survival of the state of Israel is no longer in question. The state is strong, the IDF is strong, the people are strong. In this second war of independence, we are securing our ability not to survive in our homeland, but to be safe in our homeland. Do what Nixon would have done. Stand with us as we secure Israel and the free world. And definitely, we're securing the America of the United States. God bless you. Thank you.